Okay, this is response to others, number 3, or for project 3. So first, I'll start with the, is a mistake just a mistake? So the project 3 group, or people, and it's just, it's Keely Minor and Caleb Bush. So first, actually, Kaylee and Caleb, they both kind of interpreted the quote, "We made a mistake, let this merely be a mistake. Let this be merely a mistake." And we all kind of had the same idea, which was just like, once a mistake is made, just let it go. Like, don't make it into something more than what it really is. And that's kind of a generalization of kind of what all three of us had. Keely specifically, she kind of mentioned more so the like learning more and like growing from that mistake and making something even better and new. And excuse me. And she mentioned something that I found really interesting, which was iterative creation, I think. And then she was talking about how that means like a creator reviews the mistake as like maybe necessarily like a chance to learn and make something better, kind of like that. That's what I found that interesting because I've also never heard of that, so that was actually something I learned as well. And I obviously agree with her because I also mentioned how like not necessarily the learning something new, that was a new aspect, but the just moving on from the mistake. And then she really emphasized the merely part, and that's what I also emphasized in the quote. Like, that's what it really gives the hint that it's like, just don't make this more than really is. It's just a mere mistake. We all do it. Just move on from it. Um, Something I found interesting though, and that I kind of didn't agree with, was her take on the road not taken. Overall, she was like, it didn't really change her perspective. Like, this new information didn't change her perspective on Before the Law or the road not taken. But when she said accepted failure, the traveler accepted failure and didn't try again. I remember when the road not taken was talked about in my human experience class. And I remember it was like the whole point of the poem or the story, not the poem, but like the story was to really get a person to understand, to just make a choice, right? And at the end of the day, the traveler wanted to, it was just for the traveler to make the choice because both paths were equal. Therefore, it's not neither path was a failure, nor was one better than the other. The whole point was just that he chose a path and he said he just wouldn't go back. It was just like, keep going, like how you have to keep going in life. And so I just didn't agree with how she said it was a failure. That was really it. Caleb Bush, like I said, he kind of had the same idea. I liked how he really, like, in a sense, I don't think he talked about it, but he kind of emphasized, like, learn something and make something better from the mistake by talking about the success with the effigies, or however you say their name. And then he also said that the new information necessarily does not change his take on the road not taken and Before the Law. Talia Martinez. This is also the Las Meninas people, which is Talia Martinez and Grant Allen. So Talia, she talks about how the doctor, Richard Simp, speaks with confidence. But she also mentions how definitive claims can be helpful, but at the same time, it's just like they can't. They also can be harmful in a way. Okay, she said that, like, the dwarf with the foot on the dog, like, Dr. Richard Simp said that was, like, the dwarf was, like, looking down, or the little person was, like, looking down on the dog, and that's, like, saying he conquered it because he was standing over it. This is big dog, and, like, that was what it was, like, that's what it was insinuating or whatever. And she's didn't agree with that, and I also don't agree with him either. So, like, we both had the same, like, you can't really tell that's what it is, especially when in the painting, the dwarf's face can't even be seen. Like, you can't even see a facial expression on the little person. Like, you can't even read that. It's like there's nothing there. So it's not like you can even say that the dwarf or the little person was doing that for that reason. Like, that, yeah, it's like, yeah. That's like, there's so many things you can interpret from the painting, but you can't interpret that specifically. Like, you can interpret a lot of things, but sometimes you can't interpret all emotions from a painting, especially that emotion or what the character in the painting was thinking in that moment, because there were there were no facial clues or anything in it. And then Grant Allen, the main thing that stuck out to me with his was like how he didn't like how yes, definitive claims can be helpful, and that's kind of what he said, but at the same time, for someone who is like maybe just learning something, it's like you've introduced them to something and taught them something, but it was so close-minded. And that's kind of what he's talking about with the doctor. He only talked about one perspective. And what, yes, that's like, yes, speak your mind, but he should have at least, like, maybe emphasized more on there are more perspectives than just that. And that's kind of what Grant Allen was talking about. And I'd have to kind of agree, especially when, like how I said, definitive claims can be great. Yes, but when you're talking about something, especially to a newer audience, they are not great at all. Especially for that reason that you're just giving them one-sided stuff, a biased opinion, basically, and not the whole thing, right? But yeah, that's my response to others.